Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And let's continue our discussion about this three-step kind of like corporate awakening, freeing yourself, self help program that I went through. Uh, and the reality of it is, I don't really have the intention to use this information to gain anything from it. I'm just kind of passing it forward because it's helped me over like 15 plus years. I think it was at least solidly 10, but about probably 15 years it's been using the simple box. And so during this like big, corporate training program that was run for years, and I was, and processed a whole bunch of people, you know, and I think there was a lot of hype uh, within that, and cultish and like religious stuff going on. And I feel like when I was going through it, it really was just very overwhelming. And I was like, why am I here? And what's going on? And I paid all this money to keep a friend because a friend invited me to go through this program. She was like, she used their enrollment techniques, their sales pitch. And I was like, I don't really have anything going on in my life. I feel like this is just a sales pitch. But if I have to spend this money to keep a friendship, uh, what the heck? Let's take a risk and go for it and not commit to all three rounds, but at least just go to the introduction. And so I ended up going, and I ended up going through all three levels and kind of coming out worse. I'm like, I was kind of like, that was kind of fun. And I opened up in different ways. But then the opposite happened. Being in a kind of like a safe artificial container like that, uh, being processed was interesting. But the after effect was like implosion. And, it kind of left me going, what is up? What is down? Who am I? So sometimes being exposed, and I was like, what's the point of all this? Because I was kind of already on the self help wave. And so I feel like so, and it just seemed like I'm in a bunch of, I'm in a huge class full of monkeys and clowns. And this is like some type of religious revival thing going on here. People jumping up and down and singing and having spiritual experiences. I'm like, I'm not here for the campfire and marshmallows. I'm not here for that. I have serious problems. I thought were serious problems. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that I would like to work through. And just giving me hugs and cliche things and treats isn't going to cut it. So, so in a weird way, I was once again back on my own. And I was like, there were some really great things about the program, but now I feel like, I don't know, I just felt not not solid in the I didn't. And so interesting enough, I met this lady who went through the program, facilitated the program, who also happened to have some really powerful spiritual abilities, and not even that, who's just an intelligent person, very intelligent person. And so I basically mentored with her. I became like her student, just kind of watching how she lived her life and how she applied the principles. And and she would process people in her home, and she really believed in this program. And we were like best friends, and that helped me integrate and kind of puzzle piece back together the experience I should have had without religion, without over emotionalism, without psychological deep dives that were unnecessary? What was the skeleton structure that I could come back to and ground myself in when life was a storm, when things got disrupted, when I went through a real thing? Is there a base structure uh, that I could use as a template to kind of like reorganize, find myself again, find reality, find my center? And so this is the real intention. And, this is all like universal truth. It was just, so in the program, it was just so much add ons, you know, that it distracted. Pretty soon you couldn't see the base structure anymore. You were caught in the glamour, or you were caught uh, in an emotional wave with everyone as a group experience. Things got heightened and blown out of proportion and sensationalized. And I'm like, that's not me. Like, a part of me is skeptical, critical. I want to analyze it, where I'm looking for truth, I'm looking for honesty, I'm looking kind of like for facts and reason and logic. I need something that I can actually use, you know, I can kind of trust in, but like not have some like religious faith. I am not going to believe in something that's just a great idea, an ideal. I'm not going to believe. And because everyone else is telling me of something outlandish that could or could not be true, that, maybe takes years of research to discover, just because someone is peddling that and everyone's buying it, I'm not drinking the punch. I've seen what happens when people drink the punch. It's dangerous, you know? And so I felt like there was a lot of punch drinking there. And so I feel like people from all different stages, all different walks of life, many different needs. I think there was an overwhelming need to have group connection. There was an overwhelming need to connect and love themselves. And like, those weren't my needs. My needs were specialized, just like your needs are unique and specialized. So hopefully this like base structure of the outline of the program, you can take it from there and put on the meat. You could put on the tendons, the bones, the organs, the skin, and you can reconstruct or construct something that you can use. So, and all paths are one. So I don't think any organization can claim the truth. And I don't think one path will get you there. Devout yogi or devout Christian or devout atheist, scientist is going to get there. You're going to have to kind of maybe move through all these paths, always progressing forward or to the source, to have your own self discovery, to continue your own personal evolution. Uh, with that being said, let's look a little bit more at that box, because that box, some people call a filter. So I think in psychological terms, people may understand that better as a filter. It's like, oh, I have a filter that was kind of given to me by my generation, by my culture, by my sexual orientation and the way I was treated. These are kind of facts, and reality kind of gets distorted moving through that filter. Some of that material doesn't have to be there, a lot of it. So let's just kind of go over that. And on one corner of the box, I like to put feelings, like emotions. And then another part, I like to put the behaviors on repeat. So these would be habits. And these habits reinforce positive and negative. They reinforce your history, they reinforce your trauma. And so they become self-sabotaging habits and behaviors on repeat. Records in our mind. We tell ourselves there's like a voice in our head, and it just keeps saying the same story about ourselves. It could be criticizing you all day in the background, so much so you don't even hear it anymore. You know, it could be pointing out a negative view as you look out into the world, criticizing others, blaming, shaming, hurt, thinking negative. It could be telling you a trauma story. These people are bad. Like, so there's a voice in your head, it's on repeat and it's talking. And that's just one of them. So that's one of the angles of the box. The other one was the thoughts and beliefs. So not exactly on repeat, but, as like a record player going on and on and on, but more like something that you've come to a conclusion. You know, there's such thing as gravity and it's 14 and a half pounds of pressure, or, you know, whatever these beliefs are. Some people believe in a deity. Other people believe, oh, it's all fiction. Some people believe in flat earth theory. So, and so you might have some fearful conspiracy thoughts. Some people are, yes, aliens created humans. Evolution's not real. Evolution is real. Uh, these are thoughts and beliefs. Imagine how that filters your experience of yourself, of reality. How would you then go about making choices and taking actions throughout your day? So these filters create polarization. They create opposition. They create distance. They take us away from wholeness, completeness, unity, whatever that looks like to you. And that might be something you discover, not think about, and go, that sounds right. Good enough for me. Surface level. So the last leg of that box, I call the programming, that environment that we were talking about, the genetic blueprint you were given, and you got that with your family, and it's been passed down generation after generation, maybe even lifetime after lifetime. Who knows? Maybe there is such thing as reincarnation. Maybe there is a grand purpose to your existence. But we don't need to go into that. That kind of tips into spirituality. That kind of goes into the unknown, So, and probably the reason why you need this video is because you're at a point in your life where investigating past lives isn't really the point. That's not going to serve you right now. Finding out if there is a spiritual reality beyond this one isn't helping you navigate today, tomorrow, your relationships, and the things that matter here on planet Earth. So we're going to try to just kind of keep this to this level. Could you expand it? Yes. Do you have to? No. And could you get everything from this without expanding it like that? Yes. So really, that's really all I'm asking. So now that we've discovered, we have bought in, subscribed to, been tricked, been forced into this box, gone in willingly, gone in unconsciously, seduced with candy and movies and video games and music, whatever it took, here you are. And you've kind of outgrown it. And maybe there's a potential inside of you. And there could be some chaotic things going on. You might hit this critical point where you're not happy with your job. You're not happy with your health. Maybe you've got so far into your box, you're afraid of the world. You're afraid of others. You're afraid of the future, So who knows basically where you're at in your box and what you need. But you do want out. You do want to out, break the mold. You want out of this psychological jail. You're not being fully served. Living has lost its meaning. I'm going to say that again. Living has lost its meaning. It's lost its value. You're not excited to meet new people. You're not excited to see your own reflection anymore, to wake up and have an awesome day. We've lost energy. We've lost wonder. We've lost creativity. We've lost passion. We lost hope. We lost a lot of good things. And so this moves us into the second part of the program. And I'm just going to call it your infinite potential. Okay? You have so much more potential to be happy, to be happier, to be excited, to be more excited, to have, like, someone has put a kink in the hose, someone has shut off the water system, probably you unconsciously. We're going to help you find that. Actually, you're going to find it yourself. Could there be such thing as more love? Could there be such thing as more passion, more intimacy, more discovery, things to learn, things to grow, more interest, more? It's like, why would I want to step out of the matrix and live my life when a TV show is so much more interesting than getting into an actual relationship? When listening to music sounds so much better than listening and learning how to do something and get a new job. So it seems like entertainment, this artificial creative entertainment, is great. But when it's out of balance, it starts you to disassociate from real connection, real love, real affection, real intimacy. And not just with people, with your pets, with your garden, with the trees, with the rocks, with the air. We have lost a connection with our own body. So the popular term is like disassociation, I believe. But it used to be called fragmented. So we start looking at psychology and problems. People have compartmentalized themselves. They fragmented themselves, and then they're almost like an unconscious program living itself out. And we're almost like a passenger in a car, or I like to call it a train. We somehow find ourselves on a train. It's going somewhere and we don't know exactly where it's going, or we do, but we want off. We want to get on a different train and go a different direction with our life, with our day, with our thoughts in our head. And so we get to a point, it could happen at any point in your life, where maybe you want to wipe the slate clean and start anew, like rebirth. Maybe you're looking at your life with a lot of regret. I wish I did that. I wish I did this. I wish I was stronger. I wish I was braver. I wish I would have said this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you apologize for your whole existence and you're mad at yourself. I lost that relationship. I lost that partner. Oh, if I only would have, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And we might be living with lots of regret, lots of doubt. You might have, I was confident, I was strong, and now I'm full of fear and I'm full of doubt and I don't trust myself. I used to think for myself and challenge everything, and now I say yes to everything and I get other people's opinions, and I'm doing all this research outside of myself and I don't know who I am anymore. That happens. We look to teachers, we look to professionals, we look to books, we look to history books, the accumulative collective knowledge of humanity at this time. And then we become experts at what other people think, what other people did, what other people do. I'm really good at my job. I do it just like I was taught, just like I was programmed, just as I was expected to. And we find out this feels like work. This is hard. There's no meaning. There's no value in it. I was taught to pray this way. I was taught to commune with nature this way. Yoga is supposed to look that way. Enlightenment is supposed to look like this. Healthy is supposed to look like that. We've lost our authentic nature. Can I have permission to be myself? Can I have permission to be upset? Can I have permission to make a mistake? Oh my gosh, a mistake. Are you going to leave me for saying how I feel, speaking my truth? Are you going to leave me because I don't meet your expectations of who I should be? Once again, the world seems to be putting us back in the box. We seem to be in agreement with it, or we keep ourselves in a box to keep ourselves safe. That person might hurt me. Let me just dim my light. Let me just tone down my power because there's going to be a challenging situation at work. Heavens forbid I'm unapologetically myself and it looks good and it looks sexy and it looks awesome. Heaven forbid I speak my mind. You know? And so the second part of the phase is, now we know all this negative stuff, let's start turning our attention to the positive stuff. It's funny, our brain writes two different stories. It writes a negative one and a positive one. And I like to call them trains. There's two trains. And you might all of a sudden find yourself on the negative train. And it's going all sorts of directions. And all the conversations, all the programming, all the habits, all the memories come up. And it's related to your negative history. Well, there's another train. And sometimes you're on it. Sometimes you just wake up on it in the morning going, I'm having a great day. I don't know why. Or a cool event happens and you ride that wave of emotions, or you heard something inspiring. Pretty soon you're on that positive train. Then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I guess, oh yeah, I remember I had a great time growing up. There were some bad things, but oh my gosh, I remember all these good things. Oh, I remember all these good things about my partner. For 10 years, I was thinking all the negative things, talking about it, living in it, being that. But now, all of a sudden, I remember all these great things about my partner. Maybe I should go back to that, you know? And so, what we don't realize is both trains, same train, going on at the exact same time, and you have an opportunity to make a choice. But when this is going on unconsciously, like, I think in Western society, we tend to look at problems, try to fix problems. So we're always looking at things that are wrong, things that don't meet our expectations, things that are broken. And it's so easy to slip over into the negative, looking at problem solving. My mind is used to solve problems. I'm a problem solver and I'm good at it. You might need to retrain yourself to look at the good things, look at what is going right, having an attitude of gratitude, learning to appreciate, learning to receive. Feeling blessed is one of my favorite states. Feeling like things are going my way, feeling like everything works out, that the story has purpose and meaning and value, deep appreciation. So much so, I feel grateful for my situation, and then there's a vibe change, and then pretty soon you're on that positive train and you start having a positive experience in life. And it's really easy to see who you are. The clouds clear, and I have a purpose and I have value and I have something to give others. And you know what it is? It's me. And you know what it is? It's not what I do, it's who I am. Wow, I am life, living life. I am in life, with life, living it. Could the meaning of life be to live? Nah, couldn't be that easy. Couldn't it be that great? Is it a question? Is it a problem to be solved? No, it's an experience to be lived, And so I like to call it, I am consciousness. I am that I am. Instead of all this self beat up of you don't have a right to exist or you must be this functional being to occupy a space, it's no, I have every right. I have just as much right as you. And I have value in my very existence adds to the collective, adds to the brilliance of existence. And that can be expanded into spiritual levels, you know, deeper, richer, and you can start having wonderful experiences. So what happened to me, it was, now that I know I exist, what happened to me, fear of death died. And the need to overachieve died. And the need to expect so much from other people died. You know, we're kind of like, the world owes me something. Well, I am existence itself. So I can relax, I can chill, I can watch, I can take a back seat, I can let others drive. If you want to be the boss, be the boss. If you want to work extra hard, work extra hard. If you want my wisdom, if you want my insight, sure. And so a lot of pressure, that box started to dissolve once you start realizing and letting yourself feel your greatness. Feel the blood moving through your body. Feel your heart beating. That is a miracle. What is a miracle? It's science we don't understand. You know, it's processes going on beyond our comprehension. Yet it's happening. It's not anything like religious. It doesn't require a prayer. It doesn't. Here it is happening now. And so the second part is learning to live in the present. If you're truly in the present moment, there's no history to worry about and think about. There's no future to stress over, to create more. There's no cycles. The cycles stop. Everything stops. The world stops. And you just get to be. Like, when are we left alone enough? Not like isolated, but left to ourselves, to move, to breathe, to feel, to be ourselves. You were when you were kids and your parents had stuff to do and they left you in the backyard with maybe your brothers and sisters. You were when you were on the soccer field. You were in the sandbox. When you're little, you were kind of free, hopefully. And you have a few memories of those moments when you were left to do whatever. Oh, they're not watching you. They're not monitoring you. This is maybe in between classes, you know, in between expected duties. There is these moments. Maybe you were just walking down the hall and you were free and you were singing a song that you liked. And recapture that essence, focus on it, magnify it, come back to your innocence, come back to your, I like to call it divinity. Come back to you, come back to that feeling. And that feeling is an energy, it's a frequency, and it will start unlocking doors, opening your mind, opening your heart. And then you might go, I have a frozen heart. I've been afraid of people for so long, or I've had so much trauma. Maybe I need to focus on my heart and defrost it. So that's what I had to do. I literally grabbed a pillow, started imagining it was someone, holding it, feeling my own heartbeat, feeling there. I had to imagine being connected to someone because I've isolated myself so deeply, so cut off from the world. I was like a stray roaming planet moving through the universe. And like, what a protection system I had going. So much so, I was not going to be hurt again by another person. I was not going to be abused. I didn't want to hear those things, you know. So I became very good at avoiding conflict, not knowing conflict is the invitation to power, to more energy, to evolution, to consciousness expansion, and deeper love. If there's a conflict, it's an invitation for deeper connection, intimacy, working out things, healing, becoming whole. Uh, you know, it's pretty profound. So, this is what level 2 was about. It was getting in touch with your infinite potential, a limitless nature, a creative you. It's the you that sees no limits, like a child. It's or a creative artist, a great engineer. It's the you that doesn't know the word no. Yes, you're worthy. Yes, you deserve good things. Yes, life is beautiful. Yes, there is a purpose to life. Yes, all the knowledge and information is available to you. Yes, you have time. Yes, you're okay. Yes, you're awesome. Yes, you're lovable. It's this part of you that is limitless. And I don't know how you will find that, rediscover it, um, or give yourself permission to feel it and be it and embody it and move that into the world. So you've dissolved that box that we've talked about it. You look at these thoughts, these programs, and you're like, those are limiting. And I'm actually an unlimited being. So those thoughts are just thoughts. They don't control me, they don't own me, and I can let them go. I don't need to repeat them. Doesn't need to become my history. It doesn't need to become my programming. It doesn't need to pester me anymore. I can let them go. These memories aren't serving me anymore. I can let them go. These people aren't serving me anymore. I can let them go. The more you let go, the more you expand. Into what? Into your own being. So you're kind of filling a void. How do we create that void? By creating that box. We've kind of trapped ourselves. How do we get out of that void, that hole, and how do we get out of the toxic behaviors, the cycles, the patterns where we try to fill that void, but guess what? That void can only be filled with you. More of you, more of your essence, more of your energy, more of your love, more of your wondrous stuff. And it's actually already there. So the void is an illusion. The box is an illusion. The boundaries between you and me are an illusion. The distance, the space. So we can take this box, those four legs, we can break them down and make a line and put it between me and you. This filter is what's blocking me and you. And there went the intimacy. The bigger and thicker and deeper your box, the bigger and the more time, the more space, the more distance, the more confusion,